All right, let's get this show on the road. Good afternoon, folks. The date is Thursday, October 2nd. The time is 4:31 p.m. The temperature is clocking in at around 18 degrees Celsius, and it's a bit windy, so it's on the cooler side. I've got a long sleeve t-shirt on, but I also have a light hoodie in my backpack. We're starting off in Midtown. Greetings to Alicia Lewis, Vivian Johnson, Carolyn, Harjot, Marge, Sebastian, Flick Hunter, Diva Tequila, Cruising with William 1, Cursing with William, I thought it was Cruising, Taran, and Dark Tar, and everyone else. Thank you so much for tuning in. I was going to just go out and make a video tonight, but I was having a bit of a writer's block, and I want to be able to watch the Yankees versus the Red Sox coming up at 8. So what the hell, let's do a second live stream in 2 nights. So thank you so much for tuning in. What we're going to be doing is marching our ass all the way over to East York. So we're going to head down to Eglinton, and then I'm going to go east for a while. Or rather, East York. Did I say North York? So let the power walking commence. Greetings, Mohammed. Greetings, Howard. And thanks to everyone who tuned in to yesterday's fairly long live stream. That one clocked in at a hair under 3 hours. I went from Bloor Young all the way over to Kipling Station. So according to Google Maps, this one is gonna, let's see, what does Google Maps say this is gonna take? Google Maps says we are looking at an hour and 40 minutes. That's not so bad. I should be able to have some time to dilly-dally a little bit. Once again, it's my neighborhood, Yonge and Eglinton. But when I get to Eglinton, we're going to go east, and I'm just going to go east for a long-ass while. Maybe to Bayview, maybe to Laird and Leaside, and then from there it'll be south. Greetings, Aaron. Aiden Thompson-McGuire's here, Lisa's here, Philip's here. So lately it's been the Johnny Walks long ass distances on live streams channel. Works for me, gotta get my steps in. This is my first time going outside today. But with tomorrow being Friday, that'll be a good day to make some content. And I think the weather is gonna be a bit nicer tomorrow. There's some of those folks over there. Excuse me, can I ask what your favorite color is? I'm ultimately trying to get into your wallet, but I'm going to start by asking you that. Kind of people. I don't know, I think a lot of them are working on behalf of good causes, but man, I cannot walk through Yonge and Eglinton lately without just getting pretty much harassed by them. If I have my earphones in or my headphones on, it's easy just to put my head down and do the I can't hear you thing, but it is what it is. They're just trying to make a living. But it is definitely noticeably chillier than yesterday. Brad Palmer's here. Greetings, Brad Palmer. Welcome aboard, Brad. Thanks for tuning in. Hope the new puppy is doing well.
Figure it out.
And Kurt Affair, Trojan Elk. There's a dude setting up with a microphone and a speaker. Is this the same guy I saw singing at Dundas Square in a video not too long ago? Or not. Let's go to the south side of Eglinton. And we'll have that sun right to our back. So the Jays game time is either, I think, at 11 or 2. Or is it 11:30 or 2:30 on Saturday? If Boston wins tonight, they'll be playing the early game. And if New York wins, they'll be playing the early afternoon game. There is no chance I'm not watching that. I was so happy the Yankees won yesterday, pushing things to a third game, while teams like the Jays and Mariners are just chilling. The Hunter heard 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. Maybe that was a different time zone where I got those times from. You might be right, Flick Hunter. I might have been watching a left coast channel. Who do I think wins today? I honestly think it's set up for the Yankees to win. Boston's rolling out a rookie. I think it sets up for New York to win, although I'd be fine. All right, that guy had some things to say. Oh, they've unveiled the front of Shake Shack. Look at that. Almost walked right by it. Must be ready to open very soon. Been waiting for this Vietnamese place to open for quite a while. Pha and Boo, that's a chain. But if you're just tuning in, we're going east on Eglinton East. There's my local Harveys. They know me all too well in there. I just got yelled at by Pat Sajak. I thought I heard that Ryan Seacrest was going to be his replacement. Paul says Shake Shack opens tomorrow. There's some content idea for me. Thank you, Paul, for the info. That'll be a nice, easy one to record. I bet there'll be a nice big lineup. I don't know if I'm going to go in it this time or not. I remember lining up with Henry for the one at Dundas. Flick Hunter towards filling that playoff baseball beer fridge. Flick Hunter. Don't you know it? Thank you so much for the 20, Flick. There's nothing that justifies having an adult beverage like your favorite team in the playoffs. Thank you so much, Flick Hunter. There's that Orange Theory. Oh, we can't see in. They're trying to get people into their hit zone. Things are going to be thinning out a little bit the further east I go pedestrian-wise. And just to get a little extra cardio in, I've got my power walk stride on. There's the Copacabana, all-you-can-eat Brazilian steakhouse. Haven't been there in a while. Greetings, Mark D. And Scott is here as well. Over 200 viewers already. Thank you so much, guys. Mike Landry. Hello, Johnny and chat. Mike Landry 2. Thank you so much for the $2, Mr. Landry. Thanks, good sir. Hope you're doing well. There's a 34 East Eglinton bus. By the way, I might be doing a watch along with the Blue Jays in the playoffs. I don't know if I'll do that on Saturday. There's a chance I'll have some company over to watch the game. If I do, I won't be doing it. I'll save it for the following week. But I'll try to do it for one of their games in the LDS. So if you want to tell me what happens before I see it happen, because there tends to be like a 15-second delay on my stream, which is of course totally official and legal, and go ahead and spoil the results for me live on a stream. There's Popeyes. So was it Tuesday? Or no, it was Monday or I think it was Monday. I went southbound Mount Pleasant here. All the way down into downtown, then followed Jarvis all the way down. I think to Shooter. When I streamed over to Young. Well, we're gonna keep going east here tonight. Taking their Maserati for a rip. Crystal says it was chilly in the morning. It still is. Yeah, but it's a comfortable temperature if you're briskly walking, I would say. Aaron says Popeye's chicken is fucking awesome. Hey, I don't disagree. Some people say Mary Brown's, but hell no. There's a shawarma real. I might be having that for dinner tonight. As we get to Mount Pleasant. Carlito's Way is here. Marie Palmer is here. There's the future Crosstown LRT station. The subject of a recent video on the B1M. Kurt Affair says, what's my usual game day eats? Well, if I have company over, usually we just order a couple of pizzas. And I'll probably just have to pick up some chips and salsa or make some popcorn. You can tell as soon as I get east of Mount Pleasant, where did all the pedestrians go? What's my game beer? I've still got a fridge full of Blood Brothers Brewing. The Blood Light would be my favorite at the moment. I've got some of their other flavors. Johnny watched the game at a bar. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it from my apartment. If anyone comes over, I'll watch it with them. If nobody comes over, I'll stream it and watch it with you guys. I had a thought to go to their split squad practices today and yesterday, but oh, hello. We found some viewers. I think they yelled at me from there, well, in a polite way, quite a while ago. Carlitos Way says, do I own a Jays jersey? Yes, I have a Josh Donaldson jersey. I have a Jays hoodie, a t-shirt. This cap, I have an old ratty cap that I'm probably not going to break out and wear. This is my newer cap. Decided to go with the black this time. Although one of those white panel caps would be pretty sick. I just think the white panel part itself would get kind of grimy. Yeah, Aaron, he was. Sometimes that happens. Caesar's Paulus Grooming and Spa. All right, that's kind of a cute name. And look at that. Well done. Hey, Greg, hi Bears. Robert is here, the West Coast Walker. Greetings, Robert. So while you take your dog in there to get groomed, you can pop next door and get some plastic surgery. Get that rhinoplasty you've always wanted. Laser Studio. You can go get your moles lasered off. You got everything on this block. Dr. Pulse Training Services. I don't know what that is. You can rent a U-Haul. They sell U-Haul boxes. Am I cheering for the Guardians or Tigers? I kind of want the Guardians to win. It was 1-1 when I left. I had a thought to put that on my phone and watch it while I stream, but the game I want to see is starting at 8 tonight. If the Dodgers didn't win last night, the Yankees and Red Sox would be starting at 6. But with no game on the West Coast, or rather the East, yeah, the West Coast, they moved all the games. So the Yankees and Red Sox have that primetime slot. Johnny B says, Doggy Spa, count me in. Thank you, Smooth. Billy T says, one-stop shopping. So we are heading towards Bayview. Then I could go south down Bayview, or I could keep going all the way to Laird and go south there. I think it's going to be about the same either way. If I go south, that would take us to Milwood, and that would be mostly residential. Hey, they got a couple of pubs right here. Murphy's and a Gabby's. Maybe we'll stick to Eglinton and we'll just go all the way to Laird. Greetings, Angela, saying hi from North Carolina. weed shop, taekwondo office space for lease. Maybe that'll be the home of Johnny Strides Enterprises. That guy was rocking a Bills cap. Another dude getting his cardio on. This is my cardio for the day. It's a non-workout day. Once the Crosstown LRT opens up, a lot more people are going to be probably looking at apartments in this area. It'll be a little less daunting getting over to Eglinton, even though I have my doubts it'll be much faster than the current bus system. Gertej is here. Orion is hungry. Let's eat. I'll be doing that after. Hey, here's Banff Road. Johnny watched the game with me at a bar and wings are on you all day. Well, I can't do that on Saturday. I've already got a little group chat where we're discussing getting together. I would be the lucky host for the first game. Hi.
How are you?
Good, you?
Channel.
Awesome.
You're awesome.
Nice to meet you. Cheers. Another friendly viewer. I want someone to be like, hey Johnny, your stuff is okay, kind of boring. I only watch maybe one video every month or so. I don't really watch it, I just kind of put it on in the background. I never hit the thumbs up. I'm not even subscribed, but I know who you are. I'd like one person just to give a dose of honesty like that someday. But hey, I appreciate her friendliness and her viewership. There's a neat looking building. It's got like wood treatments on the facade. Yes, that's how we turn. And she turned that so tight, she almost clipped that infinity turning right. She missed it by like a few inches. Tian, thank you. Thank you for your honesty. This dog is scouting. I think it's gonna do that squatty thing dogs do. It started to slow walk. No, the prophecy is not true. Jeanette, hi Johnny. Your content is okay, and I only watch once in a while. Hey Jeanette. You've got more integrity than anyone I know, so I can only take that at face value. Thank you so much for the support, Jeanette. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've overcome those allergies, or they're not bothering you too much. I was watching an interesting video on City Nerd. He was talking about what the fourth major city in the US is. If you were to ask somebody, hey, what are the big four cities in the US? I think New York, Chicago, and LA would pretty much pop into anyone's mind. So he did his whole video on which would be the fourth. And that's where the debate would happen. And I kind of liked a lot of the criteria he brought up. Do they have every major sports team? Do they have multiple major sports teams? Do they have a killer skyline? How many tall buildings do they have? Do they have 2 airports? There's, of course, population, GDP of the city, tourism. But I think his conclusion was the same as mine. There's really just a top 3. You're getting into a weird debate once you go past that. Jack says Miami, culturally and socially. That was one of the front runners. Washington, D.C. was up there. Although they have a height restriction. I don't normally think of Washington in that sense. Houston and Dallas made the short list. San Francisco is an obvious one. Boston, even though Boston has a tiny population in the city proper. And it was an interesting topic. You could have the same debate in Canada, right? You'd go Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, top 3. There would be 0 debate on those 3 in that order. And then what would be the 4th? Probably Calgary. Yeah, I think Calgary would have to be the 4th. It's certainly got the skyline for it. Peter Bradfield is here. Your streams and videos might be getting like I tease Ken's do. That not only are people telling friends and family, but they're telling enemies. Uh-oh. This live was recorded in 2026. When I was a kid, we had to play a team from Leaside, and I always wondered what the hell Leaside was. Oh, this is probably where their home diamond was. There's also another park just south of here on Milwood. Terrence says Calgary or Edmonton. I think Calgary slots in ahead of Edmonton by a little bit. Hey Brad Palmer, I just got a notification from you. Bird cam. That's the Howard Talbot Park. Oh, hey, Mr. Mountain Biker. I was about to say, who the heck is ringing me on the sidewalk? But no, that's another Mr. Mountain Hiker or Mr. Mountain Biker sighting. Little high school football action going on over there. Greetings, Karen. Vancouver will one day overtake Montreal to become Canada's second largest city. But that list isn't so much size as it is kind of like, what are the who's who of your country, right? And I can't imagine Vancouver overtaking Montreal. Nor can I imagine anything overtaking Vancouver. I think the top three would be pretty much locked into their positions for our lifetime. Hey, you can watch my shadow. Man, I've really leaned up, eh? Look how thin that guy is. Hey, a Korean church. The something Methodist church. Galil Lil Gyohi. Man, my Korean is getting rough. Ottawa has the federal government. Ottawa loses by just being too small and having zero in the impressive skyline department. I think Calgary would work because it balances out the east and west. Hey, the Leaside Lawn Bowling Club is to the right. Oh, we're in widescreen. I didn't even notice. I watched the Skanks. I watched the Yankees win yesterday, if that's what you're talking about. And I have a feeling they're going to win tonight, but let the chips fall where they may, and we'll just play whoever. Hey, look at that. Those electric buses just sneak up on you. You can barely hear it. And we're at Rumsey Road. What a playfully named street. Although it is more of a street than a road. Sanjay in Kingston. Greetings, Sanjay. Jays would prefer the Yankees, but you think Fenway is a hard park? I think just seeing a playoff game in Fenway would be awesome. The new Yankee Stadium doesn't really do anything for me. It's just kind of like a bland corporate version of the old stadium. playoff games in Fenway or Wrigley. Or heck, Dodger Stadium. We'll just forget the fact that it's surrounded by a moat of parking in the middle of nowhere as far as LA is concerned. Hey Greg, the electric buses have been around for a while. All right, Marine Mods, can you take a look? I missed it, but if someone is not to your liking, you're always free to block them. But if they've crossed the line, mods, feel free to time someone out. Yeah, Billy T, they're kind of relaxing the height requirements in Vancouver a little bit. But it's got amazing density to its skyline. Flying over it is quite the treat. This is Sutherland Drive. So we've made it back to civilization. There's a Domino's, Signorama, dog daycare. There used to be a Service Ontario here. Can Kitchen. In 40 minutes, and that's including less than 40 minutes, and that includes playing the intro. I've almost made it to Laird. Maybe I'm walking a little too fast. Right, Stephanie Bowman, MPP. That building over there is a church. And they stopped putting effort into those buildings a while ago. Compare that to like a 100-year-old church. That one has retail in the front. Look at that old building. In need of a tenant. Cannabis shop called Kindling. I should work for Service Ireland. That's just about the weirdest damn thing anyone ever suggested to me. And here's some fantastic land use by Metrolinx, right at a prominent corner. Let's put a giant station for what's effectively an underground streetcar. Who's the genius who thought this was a good idea? Why have retail residential overhead when you can just eat up a whole block with this useless building? And they've got another one on the other side of the street. But there's a Timmy's coming in that old bank building. That's kind of cool. All right, let's go south on Laird. There's a big Canadian Tire. I think I've live streamed this way twice before, and both times I was on the east side of the street. Our scale might surprise you. You have to wonder if the crosstown had anything to do with spurring on that development over there and those towers going up. Yeah, all this time in and I haven't nagged you guys yet. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, etc. Helps out with the algorithm, especially now since YouTubers are getting hammered. My feed is definitely different. Faux lady, that's awesome. It keeps suggesting videos that I've already seen before over and over again. And a whole bunch of AI bullshit that I never want to see in my feed. And the end result is when it's just kind of auto-playing what's next, or what comes up on my home screen, it's not suggesting a lot of the people I used to watch regularly. I end up watching them less. And I know a few creators that are much bigger than I am in the walking genre and in other genres on YouTube, and almost everybody is feeling it. One guy I know went from about 150,000 views a day, now he's getting about 80. And his viewers are telling him that his stuff's just not showing up in their feed. So it definitely helps to hit that bell so you can be notified when new content comes out or a live stream. I appreciate it. But YouTube's just being flooded with AI bullshit right now. Yes, that's necessary. Jackass speeding, honking at people for no reason. Good candidate for our Toronto driving. Hey, I see a super chat just as I get blasted by the sun. Let me read that. Carmageddon, $20. Hey Johnny, how about checking out the empty shelves in Canadian Tire after China's 100% tariffs on Canada? Is that a thing? Carmageddon, thank you so much for the super chat and the support and the video idea. I'll look into that, and if that is as ravaging as it sounds, that might be a valid video idea. I've had some pretty good luck with retail themed videos in the past.
Route 56 Leaside, southbound towards Skyline Station.
There's the Leaside pub. But thank you, Carmageddon. There's a very big suburban style power center across the street, complete with a golf town, a Best Buy. There's a Home Depot at the back. Your own little slice of suburbia right here in Toronto. I remember ordering from this place during the pandemic. I think I had their steak frites. Sidewalk closed. Use other sidewalk. Why the hell are you telling me this now? And what if I want to ignore you? It's too late, I've already walked this far. I will ignore your advice to use the other sidewalk. Morgan Tristram, $3, 100% tariff side freedom. Indeed, thank you, Morgan. Thank you so much for the support. Whoops, get back to the back camera. Thank you, Morgan. You can't shut a sidewalk down on this guy. Yeah, I'll have to pop into a Canadian Tire to see if that is in fact the case. This is a pretty huge development going on along here. I wonder why they've blocked off the whole damn sidewalk. There's Next Copper. Use them to try to wiggle your way out of a ticket. Hey, who needs to follow the rules? We made it just fine. You're amazed at how I seem to time the signal lights? Well, that's a subconscious skill if it is one, because I'm just walking over here. Although if I see the lights are about to change, and I know I'll have some time, I will slow down and dilly-dally a bit. Am I heading to the Milwood Bridge? Yes, RD. We're going to get a fantastic view of the skyline, as well as the progress of the crosstown, not the crosstown, the Ontario line. And that is why I tend not to walk westwards on afternoons at this time of year. My AI fun art, $5. Be careful out there. Thank you, my AI fun art, for the $5. Safety always comes first. Trying to be careful. But sometimes you gotta live a little. Laird Auto Body. There's another suburban style plaza across the street, Leaside Village. Jillian asking, how was my day today? It was pretty good. Mr. Mountain Hiker says, good to see you, Johnny. The last thing I want was for me to catch you riding on the sidewalks. Hey, if it was in like Scarborough or something, I wouldn't say shit. In fact, where you were, I would almost understand why someone wouldn't want to be on the street. But it was good to see you again. That's what, the 10,000th time we've ran into each other on a stream. There's a Chipotle. And downtown, right behind Queen Harbor on the lake, is the Amsterdam Brewhouse. As we walk by Posh Fish and Chips, well, there's another Amsterdam. And I've been to that one. It's an interesting location for it, but it's pretty good. Mike Ward says you got a channel membership on the first, but you're not seeing the symbol here. Do you have multiple Google accounts by any chance? Because if you do, it'll only appear on the one. I appreciate you joining New Leaf Cannabis. Is it possible you joined at the Stumbles channel? PQ Car Wash. Oh, hello. Hey, a viewer. They got that automated drive-through thing, but there's people actually working it. Amsterdam Blonde and 3-speed on a hot summer day. Oh, I often go for 3-speed. Afghan bowls eat unboring at the Nan Kebab Modern Afghan Kitchen. Morgan again. I don't know if you can hear that, Morgan, but thank you for the $3. It's definitely appreciated. After a couple of 3-speeds, you'll hit 6-speed. I don't know about that. 3-speed's a pretty light beer. If you pace yourself, you're not going to feel a whole lot. Indoor golf. Did you guys see Action Kids live stream from one of my favorite cities, Bangkok? He shot me a message last night saying he was about to go live, but I didn't see it until I woke up this morning. Needless to say, I'm quite jelly of him.
All right, everybody.
The original San Francesco Italian sandwiches. No, they're closing. Another local staple turning into a residential high-rise. We're on Laird Drive, but it's going to turn into Milwood Road on the other side of the intersection here. Doop, doop. I'm actually going to cross right here. Billy T has got my number. Here's a Finn. Billy T, not Billie Jean. Billy T, thank you so much for the $5, Billy T. Someone was honking. We're gonna run out of sidewalk at one point. Not that that stopped me before. Hey, that person in the common auto has a cockatiel in their back seat. Pretty sure you sign off no pets, but I'll keep that a secret if you do as well. Yeah, they had a gray cockatiel. Well, we've made it all this way and it's not even been an hour. Laird is just one weird street. It is. It just randomly ended and got muscled out by Milwood. Carlito's Way says we don't snitch here. Marge says, good luck, Mike. Well, Mike, good luck. I don't know what I'm saying good luck for, but good luck to you. I don't know, RD. I don't know. Bowls like a boss. Yeah, I did one of my hidden Toronto videos like 5 years ago down there. Those steps that say they're off limits. Da-da-da-da. You know what? On second thought, I'm going to cross back over to the other side for a moment. Greg says that was a long wait for the light. Yeah, and we're going to wait again. For reasons entirely unknown. You will never find out why we're doing this. I've got my reasons though. Hey, we cracked 400 viewers. Thank you so much, guys. Believe it or not, there's a supermarket over there. Might not seem all that obvious, but there is. Hello, staircase. Trail ahead closed due to construction. Oh no. Okay guys, I'm totally not going to do something in the woods here. That's not at all what this is about. Nope. I'm gonna leave my microphone here. I'll be back in a minute though. Sorry about that. I thought I booked my appointment for yesterday, but I had a 5:30 appointment with my accountant who bizarrely has their office in these woods. So I just had to go take care of things. It was really just to say hi. But Jane Jarin, $5. I hope Johnny's been staying bougie for a wholesome cocktail. Wholesome indeed. Thank you, Jane Jarin. And I saw another one come in. Mike Ward, I think I figured it out, have to do some shuffling. Everybody's shuffling these days. Thank you, Mike Ward, and thank you, Jane Jarin. Oops. All right, Pete, have a good day, buddy. Stay safe in your office. Lisa says lame. Hey, I can't afford an accountant with one of those fancy building offices. Sorry to use my quote-unquote male privilege there. But can you blame me? Yeah, let's cross here. The sidewalk gets a little hairy. I gotta have more respect for accountants, just kidding. Honk honk, I'm turning left. No, I'm turning left. I think they were just saying, I think you came too far. Nicole Morse, thank you. No need to stay. Thanks for dropping in and saying hello. Sorry about the little detour there. Lisa says privilege is subjective. Hey, I've known plenty of ladies who have done what I just did. I know, because I've stood on guard as the lookout for them. I think guys are a little more bold when it comes to that certain activity. Anywho, we are going south. Oh, there's a neat piece of art. That looks like a cat. Look at that. Why can't there be more of this in the world? Elena says easier for guys. There's that. Crikey is glad they logged into the stream. Glad you're here. So the Thorncliffe Park neighborhood is coming up on the left. I watched kind of a disturbing video on YouTube today on Diaries of a CEO. He had a expert on, well, he always does, that's kind of the point. He was talking about a very well proven, at least in his determination, link between dementia and aspartame and sucralose. It was all about the evils of sugar and also things that masquerade as sugar. Might make me rethink my Diet Pepsi addiction. Did you really think it could taste that good and have no calories at no cost? And that will lead you right down to the construction site. We're going to get a good look at things from the Milwood Bridge, but we're on the wrong side of the road to really get a view in there. Lisa's glad her tattoo appointment has been rescheduled. Oh, you want to make the Johnny Strides logo a little bigger? You're putting that on your forehead, right? What about stevia? Yeah, he actually acknowledged he was unsure of stevia and some of the other sweeteners. But sucralose and aspartame, the two mainstream ones, are apparently not good in that regard. MP Ward 1, there you go, thank you. You can always non-renew your membership on this one if you're up for another membership at the end of the term and do it on the other. I figured that might be the case. Yeah, there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? All this construction is for the subway, believe it or not. The station is going to be just east of here. There's a big Costco and an old Coca-Cola factory just to the east. Hey, there's no beg button for me to press? How do I signal that I want to cross? Because there's no crossing on that side. This is going to be bullshit. If the light turns green and I don't get a signal to cross. Oh well, we're just going to assume. Is it soda or pop? Soda sounds weird for me, but after living or working with Americans for 5 years, I kind of got used to it. I think both kind of work interchangeably. It's like taxi or cab. You could say either or. Soda or pop, either or. Just don't be one of those weirdos that calls everything Coke. What kind of Coke would you like, hun? Mountain Dew? They do that in some parts of the States. Oh well, goodbye Thorncliffe Park. So soda it is. You've been right all along. You could use either or. I think those ladies are getting off to transfer to the next bus. Sometimes you use the British term and call it a fizzy drink. Hey, I think I got scammed at a restaurant the other day. I asked for some water for the table, and she said sparkling or still. I said still, and it came out in a fancy ass bottle of water that cost $8. What I should have said was tap. And I just assumed the still option was the tap option. I don't know, was that my fault? Normally, I don't know what normally happens, but I've never had that happen before. I've never found myself getting charged $8 for water at a restaurant. Normally I say tap, but when she said sparkling or still, I just said still. And didn't think to clarify, and they kind of got you because then you look kind of cheap. if you go into further questioning. If I was paying for it, I would have got the sparkling. At least this is how fancy was this place. Not that fancy. It was a O&B restaurant. The Maison Selby. Ask for the free water. All you got to say is tap. That was my mistake. It's not your fault they're taking advantage of you. Just say whichever is free. Nothing wrong with looking cheap. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to just the TAP word. That had never happened to me before. Good evening, Mark. Lisa says they ripped me off. Well, their tip or the thing came, and when it was time to pay, it was prompting 18%. And that was already on top of the tax. So me being a little clever worked out 15% on the pre-tax amount, and I punched that in. The lady just dropped off the machine and walked away. So I'm like, I'm not getting ripped off on this water and then letting you rip me off on the tax and tip. It should be the pre-tax amount that the percent is calculated on. So that's another rip-off scam they're running. But 8 out of 10 restaurants seem to do that. But yeah, they're building a big overpass that's gonna connect over there and span over the valley here. And carry the future Ontario Line train across. Let's just enjoy this 10 out of 10 view of the skyline. It's more of an 8.5. Kind of looks like a mining project, right? Like they found some lithium or uranium or something, like copper. We're digging it out, but no, they're just building a subway line. And apparently at these job sites, I've heard this from someone who works in the industry, they'll often come across like native artifacts and not report it, because if they do, the whole project gets held up and then they have to do an archaeological dig, or they have to have someone come out and assess it, and then they almost always say they have to do a dig. So a lot of times they just kind of pretend they didn't see anything and keep going. But that is a well-known thing when they do big digs for projects like this. There's the Don Valley Parkway, Yorkville straight ahead. Morgan Tristram. The view. Thank you. Well, here's a not so good view of me, but thank you, Morgan. Espero says artifacts for old graveyards. Yeah. They'll find something, and usually the guy who hits it will call his superior over and say, hey, I think we found something. And they'll say, no, you didn't. Do you want to be out of work for several months? No? Well, get digging. They found Doug Ford's bicycle, and now they're building a bridge over it. Can we zoom in? We can zoom into One Bloor West, I guess, and One Bloor East. Taking advantage of that high quality stream there. And the iPhone 15 Pro. The subway will always be haunted for messing with old burial sites. Haunted, cursed. If you believe in that stuff, I don't believe in anything supernatural, but if you do, I guess you could say it will be. Morgan says that would be the way of the world. Yeah, that's the way it goes. I'm not going to weigh in on my thoughts. We'll take it as a case-by-case basis. But there's a look at the DVP. Yep, Toronto has the most, I think, high-rise cranes in North America, and it's been like that for a very long time. Drew says, grew up in a haunted house, and it made you believe. I would still be willing to wager there's some kind of natural phenomenon to explain that, but it is what it is. I read that as right lane exists. It's right lane exits. I had a thought that I was going to take Dawnlands down, but I'm starting to get the hunger shakes. So I'm going to take Pape. All I had today was a smoothie and a bowl of cereal. I still need about 2,000 calories just to break even. It's my bad. I should have had like a granola bar or something in the backpack. A lot of archaeological digs end up being dog bones and animal bones. I've heard that as well. Johnny, are you going out for Nuit Blanche? I have very mixed feelings on Nuit Blanche. It might be more of a live stream event. I've pre-recorded it a few times, and the results are kind of ho-hum. It's a difficult thing to get out and make a video and capture and do it justice. Also, some parts of it can be kind of a letdown. So I don't know. I might let the others just cover Nuit Blanche this year. I'm very undecided on that. I might still go out and see it. But you really kind of have to plan ahead, connect all the dots. A lot of the events will have big waits. Plus it's dark. And the kind of cameras I use don't really do it justice unless I bring my mirrorless with me. Lisa goes before dawn. There we go. Johnny, where's your next vacation destination by car in Ontario? I don't know if vacation, but it would probably be to see family in Niagara at some point. There will be no more car vacations till next year. I'll be getting on a plane in a few months. So that's kind of cool. I mentioned it to members, but I didn't pay anything for this trip. I've got a free stay where I'm going. And I just used some points for the flights. I should be able to go somewhere really far on points as well this winter. Lisa says a lot of hype about it this year, but we'll see. I'll look into it. Also, Saturday nights, typically, I don't make content. That was one of my sort of rules. I got to give myself a Friday or Saturday night every week off. And just not be a slave to this thing. For the record, I waved at this pickup truck over. He's got kind of an awkward turn. And it looked like there was no cars coming. Louis Blanche is just an excuse for you to go out drinking. So if you're wondering why there's rarely Saturday night live streams, that is it. But occasionally I'll swap it for a Friday. They're of equal value, I think. One night can be social or to myself. The other one, I'll often make content. Lisa really wanted to say dance, monkey dance. SNL streams. That Honda was making a funky sound. There's my step count for today. About 9,000 of those were this stream. Yesterday, I think I hit 29,000. I was at like 24,000 when I got home after that stream. Space Invaders in the City Hall building. Detroit 6, Cleveland 3, bottom of the ninth. Oh no! But I guess that's a massive, massive sigh of relief for Tigers fans if they win. They were in the driver's seat in the American League, not just their division. I think they put up the worst record in baseball in September. So for them to get out of the wild card round, I'm sure a lot of their fans are feeling decent about that at least. Plowed driving bulldozer for Johnny Stride, says Russell. Honk. There we go. Yeah, we'll save Donlands for another day. Or not try the train experience. I don't think I can take a train where I'm going. I've done trains many times. I did the train from London to Brussels and back, from Paris to Barcelona, Tokyo to Osaka. There's been some train adventures. Done some GO train adventures as well. Those don't really count. The Royal Canadian Legion. So So we're about to enter Pape Village. I was here a few weeks ago on a stream, but it looked very different than this because the street was all dressed up for a block party. Train from Toronto to Montreal. I took the train from Toronto to Ottawa as well. Montreal, and I flew there. I forgot about that via train from Toronto to Ottawa. When I went from Tokyo to Osaka, did I have a bento box on the train? No. I bought a bunch of stuff though. I bought a sandwich and a whole bunch of snacks and drinks. Mike Ward, $5. Sorry to see that we won't have a Guardians Jays ALCS. Go Blue Jays. Little sad to see that too, but thank you, Mike Ward, for the $5. Much appreciated. I'm sure the Guardians will bounce back next year. This is going to Montreal for a few nights at the end of the year. By train, don't you do that? It's kind of an annual pilgrimage. Montreal is an awesome city, super walkable, super bikeable. Solid subway and REM system. I recommend it. All right, we're back in civilization. Dollarama on the right. Future subway stop coming up on the right. So we walk by the Thorncliffe Park stop, and from there, believe it or not, this is the next stop.
You're walking.
And Metrolinx, with their craptastic land use, had to decimate an entire block here. Ritesh says, what's for dinner? I think you'll see what's for dinner at the end of this. I've got a destination in mind. Oh, hi. Awesome. Oh, from Turkey?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
One day you showed me my son.
Oh, wow.
I was walking on the road. You live, make a leave. Oh, my son.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you.
Well, maybe he sees you now.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
well, nice to meet you. We're live right now. You can see yourself. All right, take care. Nice to meet you. Cheers. That's slightly heartwarming. What a friendly, nice couple they were. Always happy to hear stories like that. They were overseas in Turkey and saw their son. Awesome viewers. And it's more Metrolinx mayhem. The Ontario line. Good job, Metrolinx. I mentioned this before, but when I lived in Seoul, entire subway lines went up amidst infrastructure that is immensely more complicated than what we have here. And there was minimal street disruption. Here in Toronto, they're blowing up entire blocks, putting dozens of businesses under. And then all you would get when they were done in Seoul was just like a little entrance into an existing building. Go down some steps, or on the corner of the sidewalk, there would be like a staircase you would just pop into and get into the new station, often with an elevator as well at street level. But here in Toronto, no, we got to blow everything up. And you've seen how bad their land use is along the crosstown. Greetings, Lorraine McLean. Yep, we're on Pape. We couldn't really see all this during the block party live stream. In this store here. You want to be on a stream? Huh? Live stream. Yeah, on YouTube. Take care, man. Friendly guy, saw the camera, started moving. No beat necessary. Zoomies Juicery. RD says Seoul has some of the best cost per metro too. They also have experience and know-how, something we don't have. There were something like 260 some odd problems with the crosstown. The key is just to keep building and don't stop building. Whenever the Ontario line is done, they got to have another project underway, because we'll have a generation of engineers and contractors that are now experienced. They've seen the construction of multiple lines. You want to carry that knowledge forward. Because as they pointed out in that B1M video, when they built the crosstown on Eglinton, they frankly didn't know what the hell they were doing. I wonder if the new subway will have lots of retail. There should be retail, and I think any of the displaced retail should be offered a spot at a comparable rent back in the new building, but it doesn't work that way for commercial retail, unfortunately. Mark says there is no real plan for the crosstown. They were just kind of making it up as they went. And let's not forget, if it weren't for that idiot Mike Harris, the Eglinton West subway line would have been built and probably extended east by now at a much, much more reasonable cost than what we're building an underground tram line that won't even have signal priority when it's above ground. How ridiculous is that? Hey, Chris the Pepsi driver. One night only pizza on Pape Avenue. I gave it a 9.3, just south of Danforth on the east side, maybe 300 meters. Chris, I won't be getting that far, but one night only pizza, a 9.3 out of 10. There you go, folks. If you're in the area or you're ordering from the area, a solid recommendation. And thank you so much for the super chat, Chris. Chris wins the award for, or will be in the running for the most creative super chat of the year. He flagged me down, or tracked me down rather, in an actual Pepsi truck. Handed off a cool beverage. Thank you for the support, Chris. Mike Harris was possibly even worse than Doug Ford. If you include what he's done to all the retirement living centers he's managed to do dirty. I think his legacy will be somehow worse. But I don't know, Ford's doing his best. I mean, I don't think McGinty or Wynn were any good either, to be honest. They just were nowhere near as epically bad as those two clowns. Hey, we're at Mortimer Avenue. The Eglinton West Subway line would have been built all the way to the airport. Yeah, and it probably would have been extended east to Warden by now. Who knows, it might have been looped into line 2 and just been one super continuous line. I think they were using the same track gauge and were planning to use the same kind of trains that were on line 1 and 2, like what we saw on the Shepherd line. And then we had to listen to all the Transit City plans and John Tory's back of the napkin transit plans. He's also, yes, that's how stop signs work. That's exactly how stop signs work. Good job, Subaru. Unlimited Pepsi drinks for the Pepsi drivers. Hey, when I worked at New York Fries in high school, I must have had 9 or 10 cups of Pepsi a day. Employees were allowed to just help themselves to the drink fountains. And every once in a while, a rep from Pepsi would come in and test our lines. I think they just wanted to make sure that they were clean and that the ratios were all set correctly. Because what you've heard is true, fast food restaurants can adjust that syrup to carbonated water ratio. That's why sometimes you get a Coke or Pepsi from a fast food restaurant and you're wondering if it's diet or if the machine's almost out, because they've watered it down quite a bit. But they do send reps to check on that. And I was a store manager, so sometimes, well, not the manager, a supervisor. Sometimes I'd be the one there when the guy from Pepsi came. News you can't use. Christo says Pepsi is too sweet. I think that's subjective, right? The actual sugar content is comparable. Store easy, convenience and grocery. Lisa says someone made me a supervisor. What was I thinking? Yeah, I had keys. I would open the store up, I would close the store, and make the deposits at the end of the night. It's always a big moment in the world of fast food when you get that key to open the store. I was what, 18, 17? I even got to fire someone. We hired this new girl, and my boss was like, it's her first day. She's gonna open the store with you. And the third person that was supposed to come in called in sick, so it was just the two of us. And this was possibly the single most useless human being I've ever encountered in my life. Like, we had to pre-cook food, like the chili, and pre-cook the fries in the first stage, and she could not multitask. I'd be like, okay, now that those are in the deep fryer, crack open some chili and start making that. And she'd be like, but I can't leave this because it's cooking, I have to watch it. I'm like, we know that takes 2 or 3 minutes, so in your mind, when you think it's about a minute and a half, go check on it. If you're not sure, call me over. And she just stood there and like, okay. And after like an hour of that, the boss who hired her called and asked how it was going, and I explained it. And she's like, yeah, you can tell her to leave. That was the one time I fired someone. Fun times. But hey, some people just aren't cut out for some things. You want to work in that place, you have to be a mad multitasker. Lisa didn't get asked back because you didn't smile enough. As a dishwasher, that's weird. Were you facing, maybe that was just an excuse. Some people are just human buffering symbols. I'm sure she's good at stuff, that just wasn't her thing. They were pretty good at hiring people that worked out. I don't know, when I worked at a supermarket, I kind of sucked at stocking the shelves. I think I was fighting myself. I hated doing it so much that I would like sabotage my efforts and just be a lot slower than I should have been. Someone would ask me if we had any grenadine because the shelves were empty. I would just go stand in the back of the store for 5 minutes picking my ass, come out and say, nope, couldn't find any, sorry. You'd be surprised at how often that happens. Just wasn't for me. I was part of a union. Just reading some of your messages. Cubbies up 2 on the Padres. Go Cubbies. I would love to see the Jays play in Fenway and Wrigley. Dodger Stadium would be cool too. There's a lot of cool stadiums in the playoffs still. Classics. And the funny thing is, once I told that girl to go home, I was alone for about 20 minutes before someone else came. And the store ran smoother with just me than the two of us. Ever eat at Wendy's or Burger King? More times than I would like to admit to both of those, probably. Probably more Burger King. I had a friend who used to be all about those Whopper Wednesdays when I worked at First Canadian Place. Just reading your message, Mark. Petco Park ain't too bad either. No, it's not. But I'd love to see Wrigley or Dodger Stadium. They're just classic parks. And Fenway. I'd like to play the Mariners. Yeah, that's what I'll pick. I would, if I could control it, I would do the Red Sox and the Mariners, and then the Cubbies. Although my OCD kind of kicks in when I watch a game from Wrigley Field because it's crooked. The whole stadium is crooked. They built it that way as a mistake. You'll notice the backdrop doesn't perfectly center with the pitching mound. It'll drive you nuts if you are bothered by that sort of thing. But I gotta be home in time to see the Jays play the Red Sox, but I'm gonna get some food. I'm just gonna cross the street, so this is about it. A huge thanks to everyone who tuned in today. Big thanks to our mods, Patreon supporters, channel members. Thanks to everyone who sent support. You guys are amazing. I don't know if I'll go live tomorrow or Saturday. Saturday might be live on the Stumbles channel for a Blue Jays watch along. I think I'm gonna get some shawarma royale. It's always solid in that place. But anyways, thank you so much, guys. Don't get used to the back-to-back streams, but maybe we'll do this a little more often. Thank you, Vivian. Medano, Marge, Mod Squad, RD, Carlitos Way, Flick Hunter, Yogi, another mod, Christos, Trojan. I saw Sanjay and Kingston here earlier as well. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night. Crikey as well. Flick Hunter, thank you for your contribution to the beer fridge. That's just my regular fridge, but beer is the most important contents, well, aside from milk maybe. But thank you so much, guys. Have a great night. Yoink. Go Jays.